Good morning, Writing 394. This is Professor Anderson with a little bit of insight into our task during week 2, which is utilizing the UMUC OneSource library search engine, excuse me. So by now you've noted that the library is located under the resource tabs. It's right here in the center. And inside of this library, it's just a wonderful asset to your online learning course. It allows you to pull from uh, multiple, numerous scholarly archives of research resources. So the search engine is really a powerful tool for you. And I want to show you a little bit of an example of how this tool works for you. So you can see I've pre-populated, I've used this example before. This happens to be my topic that I worked on through multiple grad and postgraduate school. So if I take a look at this term, single gender learning environments, and I search it in OneSearch using the UMUC library, maybe I will. I search it in OneSearch and it comes up with, it should take just a few seconds. I apologize once again for my computer taking forever. So quickly I come up with 401 results. So these are 401 targeted scholarly journals related to the topic of single gender learning environments. And as you've learned through week 2's library investigations, can use these terms inside of the article, in the title, in any kind of order. Now, if I use these characters, which are called Boolean characters, and they are limiters, they help to focus. So I want you to think of your learning like a funnel, like this. You are putting in large terms, and then you're refining those terms. And the filter of UMUC's library allows you, takes all of that information and produces a list result of the most significant information. So if I want to refine this using the Boolean characters, I would say single gender learning environments. I need those terms in the articles or the topics, the titles of the articles. And I want, let's say, private schools. And I also want to make sure I'm just talking about America. So now I'm talking about single gender learning environments in a host of ways within private schools only in America. And so if I click search, my search goes from 401 articles to 17 articles. So now I've significantly refined my research. These are articles that are targeted towards exactly the kind of information that I'm looking for. I want to compare this to, remember, we started off here with just a general search, and then we added some very specific characters. Now let's see if I do the same thing in a new Google search. So if I say single gender, learning environments, and I search in Google, in just under a half of a second, I have 101 million resources. Now, the reality is I am not going to be able to sift through, and I know you're not going to be able to sift through 101 pieces of research. So they're not very targeted. It's just way too broad. And I've used the exact same term. That's the difference between using our focused research or search engine and a broad-based web, color. It's going to pull from a host of things across multiple web platforms. Excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied this morning. Now, I want to show you the difference between this and then, just like we use those Boolean characters to kind of filter it out a little more, I'll use the same terms here and America. And last, when we refined our research here, it came down to 17. Let's see what Google would do for us. Oh, and now I'm down to 198 million. So I've actually increased my ability. If I use these, I'm sorry, I'm putting them in the wrong place. If I use these terms here, I use quotation marks. This tells the search, limit it to these specific terms, and it will change my results. Do you see how that does that? Now, if I do this here and I want to put single learning gender, single gender learning environments, that means that I have to find this phrase specifically together. This phrase has to be in this order, this has to be in this order, and this term has to be inside of the article itself too. So now I'm down to 154. So I guess what I'm trying to share with you is even in Google, I can refine my research, but it's nowhere still 154 articles. I'm probably not going to be able to move through all of that information effectively by the end of my 8-week course. So what the UMUC OneSearch library allows, or Library OneSearch allows you to do, is to really focus and target your information. So the next thing I want to share with you is inside of here. Now, most of these appear to be texts. So let me pull this out real quickly, and this is what you've done. I'm just going to pull back to our 400 because I want to share with you a very important tool that the library offers for you. So here I have an academic journal article exploring the relevance of single gender group formation. If I click on the article itself, it gives me a little bit more information. I can read the full text. I can download all the images. But more importantly, on the side here, I can create, do you see it? Remember I was telling you about our Google Drive feature and how much of a big fan I am of it. You can add this directly to your Google Drive. So this will link through your UMUC account and it will go directly to your Google Drive. You could create a separate folder where you begin to keep and store all of your information. Now that's a huge bonus because you're going to be referring to this information frequently. Even more exciting is that you can cite this information. Now remember, we have APA format that we're looking for, and if you were at all concerned about how to cite this, right inside of the UMUC OneSearch library engine, you can have the example of how to cite it. Now, you can also export it. You can create a note. You can bookmark it. You can create a permalink. You can create a folder. Oops, sorry. You can create a folder or create a list of how to save this and where to save this article. So the search engine abilities of the UMUC library are phenomenal. The additional tools that it offers for you help to maintain a little bit of organization and the ability to reference your research a little more quickly. So I hope that was helpful. That just gives you a quick view. I know there are multiple things that you're doing: SU subject term limiters, you're doing, author limiters. I know that the discussion questions go into a host of different functions, but I wanted to share with you these other tools that the library does. The UMUC library offers that aren't covered in those discussions that I think are very helpful for you setting up a way to reference your resources or the resources that you're choosing to use for your final paper. So I hope that was helpful.